Hi, I'm Michael, welcome to the channel. And Business of Fashion just dropped an article regarding a big class action lawsuit that Hermès are facing regarding the sale of their iconic Hermès Birkin bag. And this is a really interesting lawsuit only because I think that if it's successful and if it's passed, it completely destroys the space and landscape of luxury fashion retail and all luxury retail in general, to be honest, that brands have been using for the last couple of decades. So let's dive into it and really take a look. So this lawsuit comes from two Californian Hermès shoppers who claim that the brand has been using unlawful tying practices in their sales. And tying practices are basically just saying, you have to order item A in order to order item B. You can't just straight away order item B. And this is obviously what they're describing is about the process of buying a Birkin bag. So the two Californian shoppers allege that they were required to buy products from other categories such as homeware and footwear before they were allowed and able to buy a Birkin bag. And that the plaintiffs, which is in this case the shoppers, claim that this goes against the US antitrust laws and is highly illegal in business practices. And in the US, antitrust laws are basically just laws regarding like business practices and mergers and things like that, making sure that markets are fair and competitive for consumers. So unlawful tying practices and the bundling of certain goods being all sold together can sometimes be seen as an abuse of market power if done in a certain way. And that's what the two shoppers are claiming Hermès are doing at the moment. And yeah, for Hermès' alleged unlawful practices, the two shoppers are suing for an undisclosed amount of monetary damages, as well as a court order barring Hermès from, engaging in this kind of sales behavior. And yeah, just a bit of context for those who are unfamiliar, what Hermès and a bunch of other luxury brands do, to be honest, is for their super popular items like an Hermès Birkin bag, you have to get put on a wish list and stuff like that because the demand completely outweighs the supply of the bags and how many they're even able to make a year. And allegedly people feel that, they don't get taken off the wish list and offered a bag until they've bought shoes and homeware and t-shirts and scarves. And once they've bought all of that stuff, that's when they're offered a bag. And if you just go and you try and buy a Birkin without doing all that other stuff, apparently you're not really offered the opportunity to purchase one. And in this lawsuit, the shoppers highlight that staff are actually not paid any commission on their sales of Birkin bags. So they feel like this kind of reinforces that the staff are encouraged to coerce you to buy other items because those other items are where they're going to make commission. They're not going to make any commission on the sale of a Birkin. So they feel like this point proves that Hermès employees are instructed to make people buy other things before selling them a Birkin. And yeah, this aspect as well is pretty common in luxury, to be honest. Things like leather goods that obviously just fly off the shelves. Often employees aren't offered any commission on them because the brand kind of sees it as those are items that are going to sell themselves anyway. So commission tends to be given for stuff like selling the ready-to-wear, selling the homeware, selling things that the employee probably has to put some work in order to sell, rather than the things that are just going to sell anyway, like leather goods. And Hermès have already come out and publicly denied that customers must purchase another item of product before they're able to purchase a Birkin bag. However, what Hermès and the CEO did say is that, for their super sought after items like the Birkin bag, employees are encouraged to vet customers and make sure that they're genuine and not just there to buy it to resell it for a quick buck. And one of the ways that they can vet customers is by looking at their order history and seeing if that customer is already loyal to Hermès, because that's someone who's likely to be a genuine customer. And to be honest, I think that this is a pretty clever and solid reply from Hermès and a good defense on their side. And I mean, if these were just regular bags, then I don't think the point stands as much. But these are bags that, depending on what configuration and materials you get, they can resell for upwards of 6 figures. So I think it's fair enough for Hermès to be particular about who they're selling them to. And the US antitrust is all about, keeping markets competitive and making sure consumers don't get ripped off. So I'm sure that Hermès will be quick to highlight that, if they let the first 100 people who walk into the store buy their already very limited supply of Birkin bags, then consumers in general are probably even worse off because most of the Hermès stock will just end up on the resale market for significantly more than Hermès was already selling them for. And I think one of the things that's interesting about this kind of practice is that it's not at all specific to Hermès. It's not even specific to fashion, to be honest. All luxury brands do this. All luxury fashion houses do this. It happens in cars. It happens in watches. I mean, if you want a Rolex, you can't normally just go into the store and buy any Rolex, especially if it's a popular model like a Submariner or a Daytona. Normally you have to buy a bunch of other watches to prove you're like a watch enthusiast before they let you buy the watch model that you actually probably want and is quite popular. In fact, the car and automobile industry have taken this whole thing like 10 steps further. I mean, for rarer cars from like Porsche or Ford or McLaren, you've always had to have like quite a lot of purchase history in order to buy them, or even be VIP to buy some cars from them. But purchases of Tesla's recent Cybertruck literally require you to sign a contract saying that you're not going to resell the Tesla for at least a year. And if you do, not only will you be banned from future Tesla purchases, they're allowed to charge you $50K or the profit that you made from reselling your Cybertruck, whichever is higher. And when you pile that on top of the fact that to even have a Cybertruck right now, you probably had to give Tesla a $100 interest-free loan or reservation 5 years ago. I mean, the car industry is way worse than Hermès in that sense and what luxury fashion houses are doing. So my wider point is really that if something like this passes and is successful, I think that the wider concept of luxury retail in general is in a lot of trouble, because all the luxury brands do this, not just Hermès. And if Hermès gets sued for it and one domino falls over, the rest are gonna come falling down. Luxury and luxury retail really revolve around exclusivity and not all the items being available to everyone. So I think that if this were successful and all luxury brands had to suddenly stop selling in this kind of way, a lot of them are gonna be a bit clueless on the best way to market their items. But all in all, I think the whole thing is a bit ridiculous, to be honest. Like, Hermès trying to make a million different hoops to jump through in order for you to buy a Birkin is excessive for sure. But at the end of the day, it's just a bag. It's not like they're selling essential goods like medicine or bread or toilet roll. So as far as I'm concerned, they should be allowed to run their brand however they want. And I think that starting a lawsuit over not being able to easily buy a $10,000 or $20,000 bag for retail, that doesn't really sound that compelling to me, but you know, we'll see. It's up to the court, it's up to the judges. I think that they would have a lot more of a leg to stand on if they were told, yeah, once you buy 2 scarves, a pair of shoes and 5 t-shirts, we promise you'll get a Birkin. If it's that kind of situation, then yeah, fair enough. I think this will be a really interesting lawsuit. But I'm pretty sure that the brands are quite vague when they tell you, oh, you need more purchase history. They don't actually explicitly say you have to buy something or you don't have to buy something. And there are a few stories of people buying them without any purchase history or whatever. So I don't know, we'll see where it goes. But I don't know, I'm really curious about what you think. Let me know in the comments. I saw on Instagram people are really fighting over this one actually. So let me know what you think in the comments. But thanks for watching. I've put 2 videos on the screen that I think you'll be interested in. And subscribe if you want to see more stuff. Peace.